Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. So now it seems like they're trying to shift who's ever coming after Anna to be Valentine, right? After Dante comes to the house, after Anna finished wallowing in self pity and all the stuff that she did, like there's no such thing as karma, and she does admit that, it makes sense for somebody to come after her as far as revenge is concerned. They go out to the station, and he pretty much wants to get a statement. Throughout these questions, they're alluding to the fact that it could be Valentine. Where was Valentine at? How long did he, how long was it that he was gone? When did you start running? Um, and then towards the end, because Dante left the room, Dante was like, yo, can you sit there and show me some footage or whatever of Valentine in the parking lot of ELQ? And now it doesn't show any footage of his car even being there. But my whole thing is, what will be the purpose? What would be the purpose of Valentine burning down the house? Right? Let's just sit there and say that's the case. What would be the purpose of that? I mean, was it his way of Cynthia trying to get the real person that's coming after Anna? Because I'm going to be honest. I mean, yeah, I get that, but you had to burn down the house? So it's not really making a lot of sense. It's not really adding up. Sonny and Dex talks about the he brings over Betty. He's like, hey, I need you to sit there. I got something to do. Could you come back to the house with Avery for a little bit until I get home? And the idea is he's going to plant like this fake chip or whatever somewhere in the house. Betty's going to find it. It's going to have all sorts of fake information about Pikeman. Once they open up that drive, it's going to be some sort of tracking software that Brick put together. And then they'll sit there and know who it is, who's behind, who's the boss and everything like that. They could just sit there and take care of the situation. So Dex's job is to keep an eye out on Betty. I don't know how that's going to work out because the last time he tried to keep an eye on Betty, even Trina sat there and spotted him. So let's just hope he does a better job as far as being like stealth and incognito than he was the first time around. By the way, I feel like this whole plan is just going to, because even, Betty's into talking about it with Mason and Austin. Like, yeah, I'm going to be able to get the goods on Sonny and, I'm going to be in his house for a little bit, so I'll be able to find whatever I need to find on Pikeman. So they're setting it up where, she's going to find this evidence, but I feel like there's so many things that's going to wind up going wrong that whatever trap they're going to sit here and try to spring on Betty, it's just not going to work. It's just not going to work. Now, the one interesting thing that we know right now is that the boss is a man. Because, Mason was like, listen, whatever the boss wants, he gets. And, we're not done with you just in case you thought we were done with you as far as Mason is concerned. But now we know that the boss is a man. So, at this point, let the guessing games begin. Okay, so what I'm not really understanding about Joss is that for the most part, she grew up with Sonny and Carly and everything like that, right? Yeah, she went on trips or whatever to sit there and see Jax, but for the most part, she spent time with Sonny and Carly. I feel like when Carly was trying to explain to Jocelyn about mob etiquette, etiquette 101 or whatever, that it seemed like Joss was just very confused. Carly's like, yo, listen, we gotta sit there and make sure that Sonny stays in power. Because if Sonny's not in power, we're all targets. Mostly me. And Jocelyn's like, well, how is that? Because y'all two are not married anymore. And I'm like, you would sit there and think that either she would just pick this up on her own, or that Carly would have had a conversation with her. But now that she understands it, she's like, okay, well, I get it, but I don't like it. Okay, well, a lot of people don't like things in life. Get over it. But Jocelyn also thinks that there may be something more to it. You know, um, like why do you care so much about Sonny? It seems like it's more than just protecting him and protecting us. But the thing that Jocelyn doesn't seem to understand, and I get this to some extent, that Jocelyn is still a teenager. Yeah, she's 18 or 19, but she's still a teen. And Carly sits there and tries to explain to her the best she can about how when you're an adult and you're with somebody, you had all those years together, you have connections, you have family together. It's a lot more complicated than just simply snapping your fingers and being like, nope, I'm done. I mean, she even says, like, we're always going to be connected throughout our life. That's just how it is. That's the way things are. And that's just something you're going to have to get used to. But it's like, you're 19. If you didn't get used to it at this point, you're never going to get used to it. She's always going to walk around with this blanket naivety, not naivety, but just this blank naive look on that you don't understand how this whole thing works. Now, Carly, I'm not gonna lie, she did kind of annoy me today when they got back into the house. Carly was like, "How come you didn't have it on your phone? It could have been an emergency. It could have been this. It could have been that." I was like, "No, no, 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 no. What it could have been was you could have just told Sonny, you know what? Just time me out. I want to go home. I don't feel like being in jail, smelling like jail. I have Donna and stuff like that. Let me just get home." Instead, she wants to sit there and berate her for like a good minute and a half about why she didn't have it on her phone. Because she has a life. That's why. But it could have been an emergency. Okay. And it could have been nothing. What was she supposed to be sitting there glued to the damn phone in case you decide to go to a very rough bar and get yourself arrested? Like, no, she shouldn't be. Here's the thing. She should have never sat there and inconvenienced her daughter and called her late at night when Sonny was right there. And when Sonny gets there, she once again tries to explain, I didn't want you to do anything for me. I'd sit there and stand on my own 2 feet. Cool. But the thing is, he's already there. And it's like, think about Carly, it's like, you gotta sit there and stop to think, where has her pride ever really gotten her into? I mean, she lost a hotel because of that. She decided to sit there and marry a man knowing what he did, put her children in danger for years. Michael got shot. I'm pretty sure at some point, Michael also got kidnapped. Christina got kidnapped at some point. Well, okay, well, granted, Christina doesn't. I take that back. My point is that Carly's pride has cost her a lot over the years. And most recently, the whole, Carly losing the hotel and almost going to jail. But, she's going to talk about, oh, it's not just pride, it's pride. You can sit there and try to dress it any sort of way you want. Oh, I don't want you to sit there and bail me out. Okay, so it's pride. Pride got you a night in jail. So, yeah. And, I also told you, I was glad Sonny walked away because I would have did the exact same thing. I was like, okay, you know what, boom? Good luck with that. And the same with Ned and Olivia. I said this in one of my other reviews, or maybe my live streams, or maybe both. But I do feel like, because now she's starting to understand that, listen, it is what it is. He's Eddie. He's not Ned. And I don't know if I'm ever going to sit there and get him back. I think the only thing that actually bothered me about the whole situation is that, um, Ned, Olivia was like, oh, what's his name? Leo, Leo doesn't have his dad back. I think that's something that's always bothered me about that situation with Ned. Because don't get me wrong, being a father is more than just blood, right? But it always like made me feel some sort of way about how even when Julian was alive, she kept saying, "Oh, Ned is your father. Ned is your father," and it's like, no, that's not how that works. Ned is your stepfather, but Julian is your father. And when she's sitting there talking today, it's like, oh, he lost his father, whatever. It's like he lost his stepfather. His real father is 6 feet under. It's something that's just always bothered me about that. But yeah, I do feel like Olivia is going to fall for Eddie at this point. He came over, he wants to sit there and see how she was doing. He apologized for his behavior and everything. And so I do feel like um, she is going to start to fall in love with him. And then she's going to have to sit there and make a choice. She's going to have to sit there. Maybe at some point he's going to start to get his memories back. And she's going to be like, all right, well, now I'm in love with this guy. And not to sit there and say that Ned is bad, but like, then she's going to be caught in a conundrum. And that should be somewhat interesting. Somewhat interesting. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I'm not fully invested into this whole Eddie Main story. I mean, some of the stuff he was doing was just even stupid, like just him going to bars and stuff like that. It's like, all right, at some point, yeah, at some point, staying out late, waking up at 12 o'clock, I feel like it would just start to get old. I feel like it would just start to get old, especially as you age. So it's like, uh, I don't. Maybe if the character was younger, and then that happened, he was Eddie May. I could sit there and see him staying out for a little bit, but like, bro, you're damn pretty much kind of a grandfather at this point. You are grandfather's age. Like it's just not a good look. So yeah, I think that's pretty much about it. I can't really think of anything. Let me just check. And one more little caveat to sit there and add to this because I feel like that's pretty much about it. One more little bit of a caveat to sit there and add is that when Mason first came into town, he was a lot more hostile towards Austin. He was a lot more hostile, a little bit more aggressive. And I've noticed lately in the last past couple of episodes that it's definitely toned down a little bit. It's definitely toned down a little bit. And granted, the fact that they're family, it's like I don't think he was ever going to sit there and like off him or whatever. But I've noticed that it's definitely like the intensity has definitely went down a couple of notches. I don't know if you noticed that, but it's something I've noticed in the last couple of episodes. Like it's a little bit different. I mean, yeah, he still wants him to do his job. X, Y, and Z is going to happen. Yada yada yada. But like the intensity is not as fired up. Um, I think it was one point Austin, was grabbing onto Mason, and I think he had like a blood vessel or whatever. He's like, "Hey, listen, I'll do it, and I'll just shut it down just like that." And it's a lot different now. Anyway, I can't really think of anything else to wind up happening. So with that being said, I'm gonna go now. Before I do go, if I did miss anything, you know what to do. Come to the live stream tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll sit there and talk about all the shows, Days, YNR, BNB, and GH. If you're not a member, definitely join. Me and DC Sub Sanctuary wound up doing a video on yesterday. It was a really good video. We definitely spilled some tea and just really got into like a good conversation. So I mean, that alone is definitely something you're going to want to sit there and join, um, be a part of. Anyway, with that being said, I'm going to go. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, and I will see you in the next video.